One of the biggest frustrations in travel is sometimes not having enough time or knowing where to start. So here are 7 practical tips to help make all your travel dreams a reality. Hi, I'm Samara.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome to our channel, Creative Dream Vacations.
And if you love travel, especially cruising, this is the channel for you. Give us a thumbs up, but also like and subscribe for more future content.
One of the biggest frustrations when it comes to travel is not having enough time or even knowing where to start. So here are 7 practical tips to help make all your travel dreams a reality. Tip number 1, take shorter trips. Sometimes you just need to go for a quick 2 to 5 day trip, and that's better than no trip at all, right?
Better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing. So sometimes you just say, I want to take a quick weekend trip or something like that. Go somewhere that doesn't require a lot of planning, doesn't require a lot of money. It can be budget friendly. And even sometimes you can take a trip in the middle of the week. It can be better for your budget, more cost effective. Because traveling like in the middle of the week is better on flight costs. It can also be better on least expensive. Absolutely. So sometimes we just need to set aside just a few moments of time and just say 2 days is good enough for me.
Tip number 2, I think is important to start small. For those of you who haven't traveled before, especially traveling in a way that you enjoy it with the least amount of stress, it can be a lot. And so I think starting small is very important to kind of get your feet wet. I would start small in ways like finding somewhere within your state or somewhere 1 or 2 states over that is a beautiful location that you've never heard of or you've never been to before. Oftentimes, those locations that may be closer to you are a shorter commute. You may be able to hop in a car and drive an hour or 2 just to get there, or you may be able to do a short flight. Like we took a quick trip to Nashville for our anniversary one year, and it was just like an hour flight. Don't feel like you have to go to Jamaica for an all-inclusive resort.
Just focus on the getaway.
Let's just focus on the getaway itself.
And also, it's some really cool hidden gems
in America.
Sometimes in like your local backyard, like you said, an hour away, 2 hours away, you never know what you may find, what type of, it can be nice little cabin areas, or it can be nice little mini resort places, things like that. That can be literally within a couple hours of where you live. Tip number 3, travel during long weekends. Now this kind of goes along with the 2 to 5 day trip, because sometimes, long weekends, maybe like on the holidays, like Memorial Day or something like that.
Good Friday or something.
Yeah, you get those extra day attached to the weekend. So when you travel during the long weekends, you can sometimes, that gives you room because you're already off.
A lot of times too, on long weekends, what we would do, depending on where we're going, if, let's say for sake of argument, if the kids we're off work from Friday, we will fly out Thursday night or begin our travel as soon as we get off work or out of school on Thursday. So you maximize your time so you can get there on Thursday night and enjoy Friday, Saturday, and Sunday wherever you're going.
Absolutely. And then you come back Monday, because sometimes, especially if you get a Friday and a Monday off, then you can come back on that Monday, and then you can actually rest before you go back to work and the kids go back to school. This is ways to finagle it. Sometimes, now we do understand, sometimes traveling along long weekends can sometimes be a little bit burdensome because you have to deal with more crowds and traffic on the roads, and also sometimes the inflation of the price. But when you plan ahead for that, you just add that to your budget.
Tip number 4. This may sound obvious, but you will be surprised how many people don't do this. Be intentional about using your travel and PTO days at work. When you have a goal in mind as far as traveling and you really want to do it, I would try to avoid using it for situations you don't have to use it. Right. And so when you need to actually travel, you have more stacked up. I'm very strategic in how I use my PTO days. If I know we have a cruise next year, if I know there's this cabin experience or whatever it is, I am intentionally working and using that for that occasion.
Tip number 5, extend travel with business and personal trips. I know sometimes we have people who they get opportunities to travel with their company to different places for conferences and things like that. Or maybe you're traveling for a personal reason, like maybe going to a wedding, or, you know, not to sound morbid, but maybe a funeral or a graduation.
Hey, it is what it is.
Something like that. And you can use those opportunities to maybe take a couple extra days at the top of it, at the like before the trip, or a couple extra days at the end, right? And you can use those opportunities to sometimes just build on a expense you're already spending money on. Not only did we go to Nashville one time for our anniversary, we got a chance to go back because he had a business trip.
In Nashville.
And so during the day, he had his conference, whatever. I was working in the hotel doing my thing. And then in the evening, we took advantage of that and we went on like little date nights, went on walks downtown. We went to explore different restaurants and things like that. And just try to like take something that you're already getting to go to for a different reason, that the money you already allocated for a different reason, or your company paying for it, and you just maximize it and make a whole trip out of it.
Yeah, the biggest benefit of making a vacation out of a trip that you already have booked is the reduced amount of time, but also money it costs. Because, and give you a perfect example, let's say you're trying to get to Florida for some reason, but you have a conference in Nashville or you have a conference in Charlotte, and your company pays for you to get to Charlotte. Then you say, hey, I'm gonna take a couple days after the conference, and now your flight or your drive from Charlotte to Florida is shorter, but also less expensive.
Absolutely.
And so I would say just be creative in using, whether it's business or personal. If you have a funeral to go to or a wedding to go to that's across the country, jump start from there and go somewhere that's close to there, and so you don't have to pay for the flight from your home all the way there. Tip number 6, which is a very important tip: plan ahead. I cannot stress this enough. Now we know life is unpredictable. We can't control the weather. We can't control things that go on in our family. But if you plan ahead, it will give you the best chances of having that dream vacation you want. And give you an example, back in the day when we first started traveling, we used to book our cruises, whether it's 11, 12, 13 months out. So we planning ahead allows you to budget. For sake of argument, if you don't have the entire amount to pay your cruise off or pay your trip off in general, if you know you have to have this paid in 12 months, you can divide your paycheck or the amount of payments you need to make for that price based on how much you get paid. And so now you can pay $100 a week or $200 a week, whatever it takes to get there. It allows you to get all your ducks in a row. It allows you the time that you need to shop around for transportation costs, flights, hotels. All those things in the planning oftentimes will reduce the cost when you have more time to shop around.
In a more practical way, sometimes just putting it on the calendar automatically makes it a priority now, because now you see it physically, it's tangible. You can see that it's something that I have going on. Then it also gives you something to look forward to. Once you get to that point, you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I put the deposit down. I'm going to go. And then you just plan, like you said, accordingly. You look through the budget. You figure out how much these things are going to cost, and you just go for it. And a lot of times we surprise ourselves with how much we can actually get done just by being more proactive and planning
and
ahead.
Not reactive. And don't forget, there's no plan you can do without some sense of accountability, but also discipline.
Yes.
Like if you know you want to travel, then you have to, I ain't gonna say you, but I've learned if I want to do X thing and it requires something, I have to say no to going out to eat more throughout the week or whatever, because I have another plan. And so that helps me discipline myself in areas when I know I have a plan that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And so I just have to do what it takes to get there.
Tip number 7, and this is the last, but I feel like it's the most important tip. Just as simple as book
it.
The trip.
Book
it. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
Book it.
Just book it. Because guess what? You can't go anywhere
if you don't book it.
Until we book a trip, none of the other things matter. As long as we do our best to control what we can control. So you get the desire, you figure out how to manage it. And then once you get all your things in order, book the trip. Go. Have a great time.
Look, and this is very important, especially in our community, because anytime you talk about a group trip, everybody wants to go. Everybody's, I am in, I am there. But when it's time to put money down, then when you get to the end, it's maybe 2 or 3 people. Book the trip.
Absolutely. And speaking of booking a trip, if you need help with getting that done, I'm not only are we avid cruisers and we enjoy travel in all aspects, I am also a travel advisor. You can find me at creativedreamvacations.com. Fill out the contact information form, and I'll get back to you and help you get started. I'm going to put that link down in the description below.
And as always, dream big,
Work hard, and achieve great things.